We're coming up to the end of summer here in Ireland, which means we're going to be saying goodbye to one of my favourite birds as it heads home on its migratory journey down to where it spends the winter before returning next year. I'm talking about the barn swallow. And I've been following a family of barn swallows and learning all about them over the past few months. And I'm going to tell you everything that I've learned about them because they're fascinating little birds. There's way more to them than meets the eye. So let's have a look and learn all about Ireland's one type of swallow, the barn swallow. So this is the little family of barn swallows I was telling you about. Let's pause it here and have a quick look at what a swallow looks like. So we're looking here at an adult male barn swallow. And as you can see, he has this beautiful long forked streaming tail. And that's something that the female and actually the juveniles don't have. So that's the only real difference in appearance between the males and the females, is the lack of this beautiful long streaming tail on the females. Swallows overall are not a very big bird. They measure between 6.5 and 7.5 inches, but the male gains a few inches with its long streaming tail. And they're also incredibly light birds, weighing only about 22 grams, which is about the equivalent of a bag of crisps. And that's incredible when you consider the migratory journey that they undertake. They have this beautiful blue steel iridescent feathering on their back that appears black when you see them flying around in the sky, but it does actually have quite a bit of blue in it. They have a lovely white underbelly and then they have that beautiful red throat. So they're quite easy to identify when they're sitting still. Swallows are only in Ireland during the summer, arriving in spring and leaving at the tail end of summer where we are now. But in the winter, they completely disappear. And this really confused people for hundreds of years. No one knew where they went, to the point that in an effort to explain where they went, the church actually ordained that swallows slept underwater in ponds and in rivers and emerged again in the spring. Now, of course, this wasn't the case, but it wasn't until 1912, the same year that the Titanic sank, that people actually figured out where swallows went during the winter. Irish barn swallows leave Ireland at the end of summer and they start heading south, looking for warmer climates and more abundance of food. Now, bearing in mind that these little birds weigh no more than a bag of crisps, you'd think that the journey would be very, very strenuous on them and they might stop in the south of Spain where the climate is already warmer. But no, they keep going 6,000 miles all the way down to South Africa. It's absolutely incredible, but not fully understood, why these little birds fly all the way down to South Africa when they could probably just stop in the south of Spain, for example, where there is already warmer climates and more abundance of food. But they continue going 6,000 miles down to South Africa. And then, of course, in the spring, they have to come all the way back up again to have their young and nest. And the first ones to arrive back in the spring are actually the males, who arrive about 2 weeks ahead of the females, to reclaim or claim nesting spaces. In this case, the little family of swallows that I followed reclaimed a nest that they were in last year. You can see the male here checking it out, cleaning it up and making sure that everything's okay before the female arrives. And here she is, and she'll lay about 2 to 4 eggs, but swallows can actually have anywhere between 1 and 4 broods per year during the summer. And they are really attentive parents. They do not stop finding food and feeding their chicks. As you can see, here's the female, and 1 second later, there's the male. Both of them bringing in food consecutively for the chicks. And the parents don't spend too much time in the nest feeding their young before heading off again to catch more food for them, which is insects, and in particular, flying insects. Swallows do all their feeding on the wing, and they are unbelievably fast and agile, and they need to be in order to catch their equally small, fast and agile prey, the flying insects. You may have seen large groups of them flying around in the evening sky, catching insects like this. But one of the most important elements that allows them to catch their food is the size of their mouth in proportion to their head. And maybe this chick will demonstrate for me, if it can just open its mouth, and pause there. You can see just how big that mouth is in comparison to the rest of its head. And this allows it to be able to target and catch its prey on the wing with much greater ease. Their big mouth is also beneficial for the parents to be able to quickly feed their chicks because they have a huge big yellow target to put the insects into. And after about 20 days having hatched from the eggs and been fed by their parents, the chicks have reached a really good size, and suddenly the nest is feeling a bit cramped and they're battling for space. So they're going to fledge, and that means that they're going to leave their nest, but they're not going to go far. They're going to test out their wings and fly to a nearby branch, or in this case, a wire, and try and figure out their wings and learn how to perch and balance. But they're actually going to be continued to be fed for another couple of weeks on this perch spot by the parents. As you can see, there's the mother giving this chick a bit of food on the wing. But this chick is now exposed, and that means that it needs to figure out its wings as quickly as possible, because there are a lot of birds that will predate on young swallows. We have all of the crow family. In this area, we also have red kites, which, as you can see, are absolutely beautiful, and I hope to cover in another video. And we also have sparrowhawks, which hover and wait for an opportunity to strike. Swallow chicks, unfortunately, have a 70 to 80% mortality rate. And that brood that I showed you there, the one that I've been following for the last few weeks, actually laid 4 eggs in the beginning. 2 of those chicks went through to fledgling, and only 1 survived through to adulthood, the one that I showed you there on the wire. But that chick will now go and join the rest of the swallows in the area and get ready to fly on their 6,000-mile journey down to South Africa. And hopefully that very same chick will come back to the very same nest, which will remain there all year, and have a brood of its own next year. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you learned a bit about swallows. I really enjoyed making this video, and I really want to keep making these videos. So please hit subscribe, share with your friends, and follow me on the REWILDLIFE.